This bite-sized video is to give information about the West Sussex ISP. The ISP is now available for use by all settings. The ISP stands for Individual Support Plan. Professionals in West Sussex have co-developed a template to document the graduated response. This has been through an extensive pilot project over 2 years. The West Sussex Parent Carer Forum has also been involved, so that we're sure that important information from families may be gathered effectively. You can download the ISP from Tools for Schools, and it's free of charge for all. The ISP is a strategic process. The form scaffolds the assess, plan, do review cycles in a succinct way, keeping all important information about a child or young person in one place. It's a framework to begin collecting information from the earliest signs of concern. The aims of the ISP are as follows: to support the consistency of quality first teaching and SEND practice, to support consistent implementation of the graduated response, to facilitate joint working between class teachers, key workers and SENCOs, to improve the evidence base for referral requests, to provide a consistent approach and offer for parents, to promote positive educational outcomes for children and young people. You would have a separate ISP for each child or young person. The cover page gives basic identifying information about the child or young person, including space for a photograph. Throughout the document, there are instructions and signposts for teachers and support staff. For example, there are hyperlinks to the OIIP and the Pupil View section of Tools for Schools. This is to make reflection and evidence gathering as easy and informed as possible in the early stages of recording. There is a suite of annex pages available that could be uncopied and pasted to extend the ISP accordingly. But for most pupils, these won't be needed. There is a suggested format for a one-page personal profile. At the top of this page, the link gives alternative methods of collecting the views of our children and young people. It does not matter which method is used to collect pupil view, as long as their wishes, feelings and aspirations are collected. It's suggested that this is updated at least annually, though you may also prefer that alterations are made on an ongoing basis. The Assess section collects important information about the child or young person. It is organised into the 4 categories of need, in line with the SEND Code of Practice. There is also a section to record independent skills and community engagement. The short bullet point format discourages long responses. It is designed to document the headline strengths and areas of need for clarity. The Plan, Do, Review section is where target setting and reviews are documented. The format scaffolds smart target setting. After each cycle, views from the setting, family and pupil are recorded as reflections to inform the next stage. The format scaffolds teachers to reflect on a pupil's areas of need and the impact of supported strategies over time. For each new plan, you would copy and paste a new target sheet into the pupil's ISP document. This way, the record builds holistically over time, documenting what has come before. The chronology space builds to keep track of significant decisions and events on one page. It clearly shows key events and when decisions are made to refer to specialist agencies. Further rows can be added to build the chronology over time, keeping a record in one place so it's easier to see the graduated response in action. The pilot phase of the ISP has been extensive. The final version is very different to the original iteration. It now gives more structure and support to teachers logging concerns in the first instance. The recent pilot examples show stronger recording and reflection. To support non-specialist practitioners, there are now hyperlinks and strategies to advice. Originally, all the annex pages were in the one ISP document. They were moved to be optional supplementary pages as and when they're needed. This has streamlined the ISP and made it far more user-friendly. A shorter document is less daunting to roll out in schools, especially considering that you will not require the supplementary pages for most children and young people. Here is what some of our pilots have fed back. Everyone has liked the idea of having everything in one place. People found the pupil voice page very helpful and enjoyed gathering this information. Hearting. Professionals at Harting also said, "This has really helped us to be reflective. The process of sitting down and listing a child's strengths and needs is really valuable, and the ISP has made it a standard part of our practice that happens as soon as concerns are expressed about a child." A colleague at Lyminster reflected, "I spoke with colleagues and went through the form. We then discussed the aspects we thought would be useful and those which would not. As we discussed it together and their input was considered, teachers were on board very quickly." A colleague at Ashurst fed back that having the teachers and senior leadership back up and being able to induce SPs during staff meetings has made a huge difference. Having all information in one place is a positive for staff. Some of our partner pilot schools have explained how they implemented the ISP. The Senko at Aronside has said, "I have had an initial meeting with the early years foundation stage staff and will be implementing in the new academic year. With so many children on the register and 60 children new into the early years foundation stage, I wanted to manage this carefully in terms of teacher workload." Most pilot settings are building up use of the ISP over time. This has been useful in managing workload. Some have started with the youngest cohort, gradually building year on year as the pupils move on to the next year group. Others have started using the ISP when teachers first raise concerns that a pupil may have a special educational need and decide to monitor. Our partner at Castlewood has said, "Explaining to my colleagues that the ISP is not more work has really helped. It replaces 3 former in-house documents and keeps everything in one place. It's not more work, it's different work." Our colleague at Warden Park explained how to get staff on board. Supporting them in the process is important. The Senko has highlighted the benefits of receiving a child with this detailed information for colleagues and explaining that the ISP is the same process an ILP is useful. This shows that it does not create more work on top of what they're used to. To support implementation of the ISP in your settings, bite-sized videos like this one are being developed. They'll all be short and user-friendly for use in staff meetings and for training. Keep an eye out for these on Tools for Schools. We've also set up termly ISP quality assurance forums. These are face-to-face, free of charge, and will be centrally located. All are now available to book on West Sussex Services for Schools. Colleagues can join every term or just sign up for 1 or 2. This offers flexible. In advance of the meeting, Each setting will submit an anonymised example of how they're using the ISP so far. The example does not have to be completely filled in at this stage. We know it's a working document. The sessions will use small group and paired discussion to look for examples of good practice and areas for development. It's an opportunity to magpie ideas. Don't worry if you're just starting out, as more experienced pilot practitioners will be at the sessions. It's a co-productive, multi-agency opportunity. We've invited members from the West Sussex Parent Carer Forum, and invites have been sent to health and social care colleagues for a holistic view. Finally, thank you for watching. Please look out for more bite-sized videos about the ISP on Tools for Schools. We'll be adding more shortly.